What up? If you're just finding this channel, I'm working on a competitive first-person anime-inspired melee arena fighter, which I've codenamed Project Shikai. When I started this project, I wasn't really aware of any other games like this, but I've actually been seeing a lot of other first-person melee games in development recently. Kinda seems like first-person melee could be becoming a big trend soon. Hopefully I got in early enough. That said, I haven't really seen much that's PvP based, so I'm not sweating it too hard yet. I don't really know what I'm doing, so as soon as people start adding multiplayer to their games, it's probably over for me. But for now, I'm just trying to make a first-person Smash Bros. With over-the-top anime style moves and effects. If that interests you, then subscribe to see where this goes. Multiplayer has already been implemented in large part, by the way. The netcode uses a rollback system inspired by Rocket League, so we could even have team battles in the future too. I'm playing against a bot in these clips because I haven't updated the multiplayer scenes with the new stuff yet. I'll do another multiplayer playtest once the combat is further along. So far there's not a ton of anime fighting going on, but before I could do more work on gameplay, I still feel like the visuals are kinda dragging this project. I've struggled a lot with the art style for this game, and the past 2 months have mostly just been more of that. I think the reality is that most people are drawn in by visuals primarily. That's what generally gets hyped up on YouTube and social media. If you're a solo dev who isn't good at art, it'd probably be wise to go for a low fidelity style, which can still look good without requiring as much skill or time, but even that advice can be a little misleading. Like, you can't just throw together a bunch of low poly models and hope it looks good. You still need solid art direction, like deliberate use of color, lighting, nice animation and effects or something. No matter what, appeal has to come from somewhere. I probably could have gone for a more low poly look, but I wouldn't really know how to make that look good either. And the success of fighting games heavily depends on their look, so investing in learning how to do things myself seems worthwhile. So for the last few months, I did some animation study, looked into reading more, and practice modeling. I took a good chunk of time to just go through some basic animation exercises, starting with a walk cycle to more acrobatic moves. I think this slash was the last one I made before deciding to return to the project. Anyway, I'll switch over to the latest build now and show you what's new. There's kind of a lot that's changed, but I'll just go through some of the more important things. For one, the first-person animation is all different. I think it feels a lot more responsive and fluid now. I did this through some rigging improvements that includes bending and stretch controls for stuff like smearing the sword, and a combination of blend layers and procedural techniques. For example, when you land, there's like a procedural impulse that pushes your arms down. The biggest change is probably the new character. For those who haven't seen Frieren, this is Linia, a demon girl that can create weapons from her mana and mimic the moves of her opponents. I wanted to try creating a female character to practice modeling hair and clothing, and I thought this design would not be too complicated while still being a step up in complexity from the Zoro design. This took me about a week and a half to model and rig, and it's still not professional tier or anything, but I think my modeling skills have definitely improved, and the new rig is much nicer to animate with. I used clips from the animation as direct reference for some of her movements and attacks too. Getting her into the game also involves making progress on character differentiation, so rather than every character just being a skin of each other, the code is evolving to support the creation of different stats, movesets, and abilities in a more scalable way. There are some other gameplay updates too. Most of my fighting game experience is with Smash Bros, so I added short hopping and fast falling, and with these movements it's starting to feel a bit more expressive now. Long hopping carries your momentum, while short hopping cancels it, which means you can use short hopping to quickly change direction. Dashing has a bit of a cooldown built in, so you can't dash sideways and then immediately dash forwards again. But what you can do is dash sideways and then immediately short hop to get in for an attack. The next leg of work should be entirely focused on expanding combat, so stay tuned for that. Join the Discord if you want to lend your input. There's already lots of discussion going on about how the game should play going forward. If you've got opinions on fighting game theory and its application in a first-person high-mobility brawler, I'd love to hear them. Anyway, that's all I have for now.